All right, everybody, welcome to Photoshop. This is new and exciting, I'm sure. I'd also just like to state at the start that we are now off script. It makes no sense to script my design process. So if I and ah a lot, now you know why. This is a much more genuine Elliot experience. So please keep all hands and feet inside the vehicle. All right. I'm using Adobe Photoshop 2021 here. The main reason is it's a personal choice. I find that 22 and 23 crash on me quite a bit. I think it's just a thing with my computer settings, but it's all pretty much the same, okay? I'm also using a Windows computer. So a lot of the shortcuts that I mention, if I refer to Control and Alt, Control is Command if you're using Mac, so those can be interchanged, and then Alt and Option can be interchanged on Mac there, but we'll have some shortcuts on the screen, I'm sure, that will make it easier for you to understand, because a lot of the shortcuts are quite important and just will streamline the process a lot easier. So the first thing we're going to learn here in Photoshop is how to start the new file. It can be quite overwhelming. There's a bunch of options here that you get to choose from. Yours will look quite different. All I want you to do when you open Photoshop for now is just press Create New here on the left. This screen will pop up then. The reason it's here permanently now is because there's a bunch of work behind this screen in my recently opened tab that I can't show you as it is protected under NDAs. How fun! So once this tab is open, there's a bunch of presets that we can use for later projects. For example, we've got some photo sizes, some print sizes, art and illustration, web, just a bunch of different dimensions for the base canvas that we will be setting up here in Photoshop. What we can do, though, is we can create a custom-sized dimension, essentially. What I want you to do is go into the width, change that to 4,000, and then in the height, change that to 5,000, making sure that we are in pixels here. The reason we're using a 4,000 by 5,000 pixel document rather than a traditional A4 or a letter document, if you're American, is because this is going to be optimized for posting to Instagram, because the ideal end product of this course is that you will post your design to your new design page on Instagram. Wouldn't that be fun? Seeing everyone's work on Instagram? I can only dream, perhaps, but maybe that'll inspire you. So 4,000 by 5,000 pixels. The orientation will, of course, be a portrait, which should be automatic. We'll keep artboards unticked for now. That is something that I prefer to use more in Illustrator. I find it gets a bit complicated when using Adobe Photoshop, so we'll just untick that. For the resolution, we'll keep that at 300. That is probably the highest resolution. When we're talking about resolution, it's, as you can see, pixels per inch. So 300 resolution is really good for print. If we want to print this poster out, which you definitely can do at the end, then this will ensure that it's a very good quality poster and just an overall good quality image in the end. I find that the higher the resolution is, the easier it is to design. With programs like Photoshop, you can zoom in to the point that you can see every pixel. So the longer it takes for us to zoom in to that pixel level, the easier it's going to be to design. So we'll keep that at 300 for now. For color mode, we can change that to RGB if it's set to something like CMYK, and keep it at 8-bit as well. When we're talking about color modes here, the two main ones that you'll use in graphic design are RGB and CMYK. CMYK is more optimized for printing. If you've ever had a printer and you've had some ink cartridges, you will have definitely bought CMYK ink cartridges, cyan, magenta, yellow, and K, which I still don't know what the K stands for, but I think it's like the black ink, I'm pretty sure. I'm no professional, guys. No, I am, in a way. But RGB is red, green, blue, which is mainly seen on LED screens, for example, and what your computer display monitor will see color in. So we'll stick to RGB just for now. I also find that the colors are a lot brighter and bolder when designing in RGB. Mainly that's because screens and LED panels can emit color in a brighter and bolder way than ink can. So when designing in CMYK, you'll find that a lot of the colors will just be faded a little bit, which makes sense if you're designing exclusively for print, but we don't have to worry about that. So we can design in RGB. For the background contents, we'll also just leave that as white for now, but the options are quite solid here. You can change it to white, black, a background color, transparent if you would like, or custom. We'll just keep it at white. We will be changing it later on, but that's just usually how I start my files. There's also a little advanced options tab down here with some color profile and pixel aspect ratio. I just keep them on don't color manage and square pixels. I imagine these are the default settings, so yours shouldn't be too different, but we don't have to worry about those. We can just hide away that advanced options toggle menu and never think about it again. So that's pretty much it for setting up the new file. All we can do now is press create and we will open up to our new file. And here we are in Photoshop, ready to go.